Hello YouTubers, welcome to my first no bull review. Today I'm going to review the Jolida Black Ice Wi-Fi DSD DAC. I'm going to give you the good, I'm going to give you the bad, and I'm going to give you the ugly, the cold hard truth. Why am I doing a no bull review on this Wi-Fi DAC? Because like you, I've been sucked in to buy a lot of components and they weren't what they're cracked up to be. And the Arizona Audio Society rated this unbelievable. Better than the shit Yigi, better than the PS Audio Direct Stream DAC. Only thing I can think is there's a lot of older people there in Arizona. This is all I can figure out as to how that would happen. After reading the Arizona review and the glowing reports on the sound quality of the Jolida DSD Wi-Fi DAC DSD, I plunked down my $679 of hard-earned money. The DAC was delivered about 2 weeks later. Not speedy, not really like Amazon. I can't blame that on Jolida. It could be, I could blame it on Under the Covers dealer that I purchased it from. Not the real name, but you can figure it out. I got the DAC, I plugged it in, I let it warm up, and I have to tell you, I listen to music at concert levels. I like rock and roll, so I'm not listening to Diana Krall, and I'm not listening to Miles Davis kind of blue as a background music. I'm listening to in-your-face rock and roll. And a lot of members of my household are listening to in-your-face rock and roll at concert levels. We were all excited for this DAC. Everybody was over to hear this. And we normally would go from a blue sound into the Oppo 105D using its internal DAC before we went into the Ref 6 audio research. And that sounded pretty good, but I thought, man, this DAC is just going to be the best after Arizona Audio Society said it was so good. The good part about this DAC is it does give a nice tubey sound. Where's this going to come in really handy? This is going to come in for somebody who's got maybe a 5-inch or 6-inch driver that needs to accentuate the bass. Maybe kind of like, almost like an EQ. Give it just a little more oomph in there. Unfortunately, the bass wasn't the kind of bass that I need, which is tight, quick, feel it right in your gut. It wasn't that kind of bass. It was more like, kind of mushy like that. But if you have those kind of speakers like that, you need a little bass extension, I think this would really do it. So that's a reason maybe to purchase this DAC. Now I'm going to go into the bad. The first thing is heat. Oh, this runs hot. We're talking you could fry bacon on this thing, it runs so hot. In fact, I had Audioquest, green Audioquest cables. Now, here's red ones, but you can kind of see how chintzy these Audioquest cables are. So I'm not going to really blame the DAC, but I had the green Everests or the Evergreens or whatever they called them, and they were losing contact because this thing got so hot. And I had to switch over to my trusty Blue Jeans cable. Now some people say, oh, this Blue Jeans, that's junk, but you can just see the build quality, the difference in the build quality. The connectors are fine and tight, and there's lots of shielding on the cable. There's some heft to it. These cables did not lose contact, even though the back of that unit was on fire. Heat destroys most electronics. And it's quite possible heat would destroy this one too. The second thing, it doesn't have a remote. Now, that wouldn't be so bad, not having a remote. The problem is, I was going from my Blue Sound now via coaxial cable into the Jolida Black Ice DSD Wi-Fi DAC. The problem is every time you turn it off, and you have to turn it off because it's going to burn your house down. Every time you turn it off, it defaults back to the USB. So you got to get up, adjust the input, put it back to coax, turn it off, get up, goes back to USB. For those who only want a DAC, which really would be me, this DAC has an additional feature which I never use, so I can't tell you how good it sounded, but it does have a headphone amp built into it. I don't know if it's in the signal path or not, but it's possible it is. You know, I don't know. DSD is only available through Wi-Fi. Now, I'm going to run the instructions for hooking up Wi-Fi. Look at this, page after page after page of convoluted instructions which make no sense. I never got the Wi-Fi to work. I called Under the Covers and asked them, and they couldn't get it working. They said, well, there must be some problem. When I called Jolida, they said there's a reset button on the bottom of the machine. Of course, I never turned it over because I would have burned my hands. I need hot pads to turn it over to find that reset switch. But nevertheless, there was another issue, and they wanted me to send the unit in for repair. You want to know what that other issue was? I was playing some music at high volumes, and the song was over, and guess what I heard? Like that. And I go, well, what is that? Is that one of those crappy cables that came loose? Is that a bad tube in my Ref 6? Is that, boy, would one of my tweeters blowing? What could be causing that awful, awful? I pulled the Jolida Black Ice DSD Wi-Fi DAC out of the system. I went from my Blue Sound back into my Oppo, same input in my Ref 6, quiet as a church mouse. So Jolida assured me that that was a problem in shipping, that they've had that happen where the noise floor was so incredibly high. So I sent the unit back, no problem. Stuff happens. I get my new unit back about a month later. Plug it in. Noise floor is just too high for me. You know, when I was a kid, I had an old Gerard stereo system. And I remember I'd had to turn it up as loud as I could go so the hiss wouldn't be, you know, intolerable. Like I could deal with some hiss, but then, you know, you had to back it off. You couldn't go as loud as you wanted because of the hiss, you know. And it got so bad sometimes that the hiss would override the quiet passages in your favorite song. Well, this has one hell of a noise floor. The ugly. This is the real issue. There was no returns through Under the Cover dealership. I could return it, but only for one of their other better products. Well, why would I buy another product from that company when this product was clearly inferior? I also noticed, and the dealer pointed this out, it was a final sale. And indeed, on my receipt, it did say final sale. Now, when I went to sell it, I also found out that the warranty is not transferable. And that's in some fine print somewhere. It has a 3-month warranty. So it took me 2 months to get, quote unquote, a working unit, but that would have left a month left in the warranty. I sold it at a $125 loss. I had it for 2 months, maybe listened to music through it for 4 hours. I ended up buying the PS Audio Direct Stream, which is phenomenal. It has its issues, but the support is unbelievable from PS Audio. I have no idea how they could rate the PS Audio below the DSD Wi-Fi DAC. I am no, and it wasn't just me. A lot of people came through to listen to this DAC. It wasn't just me. I would pass on this DAC.